Have you ever felt like your prayers are just floating into empty space, never quite reaching where they need to go? Have you noticed how some people seem to have this direct line to heaven while you're still trying to figure out how to dial the number? Listen, All Saints' Day isn't just another date on the calendar. It's a moment when the barrier between earth and heaven gets so thin, you can almost feel the breath of eternity on your skin. Right now, millions of holy souls, the ones we know and the countless ones we don't, are looking down, listening, ready to respond to anyone who calls out with real faith. And Padre Pio, that incredible mystic who walked with one foot on earth and one in heaven, left us with words that can change everything. Call on the saints. They're alive. And if you knew how much help they can give you, you'd weep with joy. Most people pray, but hardly anyone knows how to call heaven in the way that actually gets the saints to respond. On this day when heaven leans toward earth, I want to share with you the 3 steps Padre Pio himself taught for receiving help from the saints. Not someday, not eventually, but today. But before we dive in, stop for just a second. Close your eyes, picture heaven, not some faraway cloud kingdom, but a living, breathing place full of souls who once walked under the same sun you do. They cried too, they doubted, they fought against evil, and now they're there, interceding, helping, waiting. Some of them have probably been walking beside you your whole life without you even knowing it. If you believe in the power of the saints and want their help in your life, write in the comments, "Saints of God, pray for me." Your words matter more than you think. Padre Pio used to say, when you feel like the world has abandoned you, call on the saints because they will never leave you alone. And that's where the first step begins. Think about this for a moment. The saints aren't dusty figures in old paintings. They're not abstract ideas or religious symbols. They're real people who made it through the fire. They know what it's like to feel abandoned, scared, confused. They've been exactly where you are, and the beautiful thing, they remember. They remember what it was like to need help, and that's why they're so ready to give it. Padre Pio understood this better than almost anyone. He spent his entire life in constant communication with the saints. He talked to them like old friends. Before hearing confessions, he'd whisper their names. Before praying over someone who was sick, he'd ask for their company. And miracles happened. Not because he was special, though he was, but because he knew the secret of how to connect with heaven. Today, on All Saints' Day, that same power is available to you, the same access, the same help. You just need to know how to reach for it. So let's talk about the first step. Padre Pio explained that it's not enough to just pray. You have to believe the saints are actually present. He called them invisible friends. He said that a soul who prays with living faith wakes up the heart of heaven. When you say a saint's name, you're not talking to empty air. You're speaking a name that echoes through eternity. Here's what this looks like in real life. If you're in danger, say it out loud. "Saint Michael, cover me with your sword." If you're drowning in sadness, whisper, "Saint Therese, show me how to trust when everything feels dark." If your body's breaking down or you're just exhausted from it all, cry out, "Saint Raphael, healer of God, restore my body and my soul." Padre Pio would repeat this truth over and over. Faith has to be fire, not ashes. So many people pray without expecting anything to happen, and that's why their prayers just fizzle out. But someone who prays with certainty, with the same confidence a child has, calling for their mother, that person draws heaven's power down on themselves. He lived this way himself, every single day. Before each confession, before laying hands on someone who was sick, he'd murmur a saint's name under his breath. Sometimes he'd say, "Saint Francis, walk with me." Other times he'd just close his eyes and whisper, "Holy Mother, you know what to do." And then the miracles would come. People would be healed. Lost souls would find their way back. And everyone in the room could feel that invisible presence filling up the space. Picture Padre Pio on All Saints' Day, kneeling in that little monastery cell, surrounded by light, speaking the names of his friends in heaven. Can you feel it? That same force can reach you if you open your heart. But here's the thing most people miss. It's not about saying the right words like some magic spell. It's about the conviction behind those words. It's about believing, really believing, that when you call on St. Joseph, he hears you. When you ask the Blessed Mother for help, she's already moving on your behalf. When you invoke St. Anthony to find what's lost, he's already searching. Padre Pio once told someone who came to him desperate for a miracle, "You pray like someone knocking on a door they don't think will open. Knock like you know someone's home. Knock like you know they're already reaching for the handle." That's living faith. That's the kind of prayer that breaks through. Think about your own life right now. What are you carrying? What weight is pressing down on your shoulders? Maybe it's a sickness that won't go away. Maybe it's a relationship that's falling apart. Maybe it's a fear you can't shake, or a loneliness that follows you everywhere. Whatever it is, there's a saint who understands it. There's a saint who carried that same cross and made it to the other side. Saint Rita knew what it was like to have a broken marriage. Saint Monica understood the pain of watching a child walk away from God. Saint Dymphna felt the terror of mental anguish. Saint Peregrine suffered with cancer. They're not just watching from a distance. They're leaning in, ready to help, waiting for you to call their name with real faith. On this All Saints' Day, when heaven is paying special attention, your voice matters. Your prayer matters. Don't mumble. Don't doubt. Call on them like you mean it. Call on them like your life depends on it, because maybe it does. And when you do, something shifts in the spiritual realm. Something moves. Angels start working. Grace starts flowing. Light breaks into dark places. Padre Pio saw this happen thousands of times, and he promised it could happen for anyone who prays with a heart on fire. So that's the first step. Invoke with living faith. Speak their names. Believe they hear you. Trust they're already answering. Now let's move to the second step, and this is where it gets deeper. Here's the secret hardly anyone understands. The saints don't rush to help people who just complain. They run toward people who offer. Padre Pio put it this way: pain offered with love becomes a bridge to heaven. When you're suffering, don't just try to escape it. Don't waste your energy asking, "Why me?" Instead, say this: "Jesus, let this pain mean something. Let it count for something good." And unite your suffering with the saints who carried heavier crosses before you. St. Rita endured years of humiliation before she was glorified. St. Benedict faced demonic attacks day and night. St. Teresa wept tears of fire without losing her faith. Every one of them learned how to transform pain into an offering. Padre Pio lived this more intensely than almost anyone. For over 50 years, he carried the wounds of Christ in his own body. Every day, he bled. Every day, he suffered. And still, he smiled and said, "Pain offered well is a hidden treasure." That's why, when he asked for a saint's help, heaven opened wide, because his heart was tuned to the same frequency as crucified love. When you accept your cross, whether it's an illness, a betrayal, loneliness, or fear, and unite it with the love of the saints, something changes in the spiritual world. The saints recognize you as family, as part of their same struggle, and they come running to help. It's like an invisible chain connecting you to them. Let me tell you what this really means. It means that your suffering isn't pointless. It means that the sleepless nights, the unanswered prayers, the moments when you wanted to give up, all of it can become powerful if you offer it up. The saints understand this because they lived it. They know what it's like to feel abandoned by God and still choose to trust. They know what it's like to pray through tears and keep going. St. John of the Cross called it the dark night of the soul. Mother Teresa experienced it for decades. Even Padre Pio, with all his gifts, went through long periods where heaven felt silent. But they didn't waste their suffering. They used it. They offered it. And it became the very thing that made them saints. So when you're lying awake at 3 a.m, worried about money or health or someone you love, don't just toss and turn. Whisper a prayer. Saint Joseph, I offer this anxiety to you. Help me trust like you did when everything was uncertain. When you're dealing with physical pain, say, Saint Padre Pio, you carried the wounds of Christ. Unite my pain with yours and let it bring grace to someone who needs it. This is how you stop being a victim and become a partner with heaven. This is how your struggles stop being just problems and start being prayers. Padre Pio used to say that a soul united with the saints in suffering becomes a lamp that never goes out. You become a light in the darkness, not because you're perfect, but because you're offering everything you've got. And here's the beautiful part. When you do this, the saints don't just help you, they multiply your offering. They take your small sacrifice and present it to God with theirs, and suddenly it has power you never imagined. Your pain starts bringing healing to others. Your faithfulness in the dark starts lighting the way for people you'll never meet. That's the second step. Unite your cross with theirs. Stop fighting your struggles alone. Invite the saints into your suffering and watch how they transform it. But there's one more step, and it's the one that completes everything. You know, Padre Pio's greatest weapon in his spiritual battles was the rosary. He'd pray it constantly, sometimes spending hours with those beads in his wounded hands. He knew something most of us are still learning, that the rosary isn't just a prayer, it's spiritual armor. That's why we put together something special for you. It's called The Power of the Rosary with Padre Pio, Miracles, Protection, and Grace. This resource will help you pray the rosary with deeper devotion, discover the miracles and testimonies of people who've experienced its power, and learn Padre Pio's most powerful teachings about prayer. You'll get a 30-day prayer guide with daily intentions to strengthen your faith, plus special prayers for protection, healing, and freedom. The rosary was Padre Pio's great weapon, and today it can be yours too. Don't miss this chance to deepen your spiritual life with something that's already helped thousands of people. To download it, just click the link pinned in the comments. Now, let's get back to that third step. This is the step that completes the circle. Gratitude is the key that keeps heaven's door open. Padre Pio insisted on this. Give thanks even before you receive, and you'll see miracles multiply. When a saint helps you, don't keep it to yourself. Tell someone, share it with the world. Because every testimony of gratitude is a spark that lights up faith in someone else's heart. During his life, Padre Pio received thousands of thank you letters, people who were healed, who found jobs, who reconciled with their families. He never said, I did that. He always answered, it was God through his saints. Thank them. That's why today I'm inviting you to do something. If you've ever felt the help of Saint Joseph, Saint Rita, Saint Michael, the Blessed Mother, any saint at all, write about it in the comments below. Give your testimony. Say thank you. Because when someone gives thanks publicly, the saints rejoice and keep working. On this All Saints' Day, do something concrete. Light a white candle in front of a picture or statue of your favorite saint. Say their name out loud. Thank them for all the times they helped you, even the times you didn't notice. Then pray an Our Father, a Hail Mary, and a Glory Be. And while that flame burns, imagine that light rising to heaven like a bridge, connecting your heart with theirs. Padre Pio promised that every act of faith done on All Saints' Day carries multiplied power. Because on this day, all of heaven intercedes together, and I need you to understand something profound. The saints aren't gods, they're witnesses to mercy. They're human beings who conquered evil, who loved to the extreme, and who now extend their hands to help you. You're not alone. There's an invisible crowd walking with you, praying with you, protecting you when you're not even aware of it. Padre Pio wrote in one of his letters, if we could see what happens when we call on the saints, we'd fall to our knees with emotion. Heaven fills with movement. Angels shift into action. Grace pours down like rain. Light breaks through the darkest places, and that can happen today, right here, while you're reading these words. Take a moment of silence. Think about the saint you love most. Call them by name. Ask them to walk with you through your struggles, to cover you in your fears, to remind you that heaven isn't far away. And if you can, on this very day, offer a Mass or receive communion for all the saints, known and unknown. It's a gesture that opens the floodgates of grace. Padre Pio taught that offering a Mass on All Saints' Day is like lighting 1,000 candles in the darkness of the world. Remember, first step, call with living faith. Second step, unite your cross with theirs. Third step, give thanks with joy. These 3 steps are a golden ladder climbing straight to God's heart. And if you feel something stirring inside you as you hear this, don't ignore it. That's the voice of the Holy Spirit calling you to trust, to pray, to walk hand in hand with the saints. Here's what I want you to know as we close. The saints are real. They're not fairy tales or religious ideas. They're people who fought the same battles you're fighting and won, and they haven't forgotten what it was like. They remember the fear, the doubt, the exhaustion. They remember what it felt like to wonder if God was even listening. And that's exactly why they're so eager to help you now. Padre Pio spent his whole life building bridges between earth and heaven. He showed us that we don't have to wait until we die to experience the communion of saints. We can live in it right now. We can call on them today, lean on them today, receive their help today. On this All Saints' Day, heaven is wide open. The saints are looking down. And Padre Pio is smiling from eternity, repeating his most radiant words. Don't be afraid. The saints walk with you, and God never abandons those who trust. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Leave your intention in the comments below. Share your prayer request, or simply write the name of your patron saint. Do it with faith, because when you do, you're speaking a name on earth that will be heard in heaven. You're sending up a signal that the saints can't ignore. And listen, this channel exists to spread faith and the teachings of Padre Pio to as many people as possible. We're building a community of believers who want to live deeper, pray stronger, and walk closer to God. But we can't do it without you. If this message touched your heart, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you really want to be part of this mission, become a member of the channel. Your support helps us keep spreading these life-changing truths. We're not just making videos. We're building a movement of souls who refuse to walk through life alone, who know that heaven is backing them up, who trust that the saints are real and ready to help, and we need you in this family. So join us. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications so you never miss a message. Comment, share, support, because every action you take helps another person discover the power of faith. Today, the saints are waiting. Padre Pio is interceding, and heaven is ready to move in your life. All you have to do is take that first step, call their names, offer your cross, give thanks, and watch what happens. God bless you, and may the saints walk with you always.